Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you are watching this. Welcome back to the 49th episode of the Since I Was Young podcast for all things Heart of Midlothian news, chats, and reviews. Joining you as always is myself, Ewan Ramsey, and my co-host Alan Scrimger. Alan, how are you doing? Good, sir? You all right?
Yeah, mate, I'm good. Just coming down off of a night shift lull, so not quite with it, but getting there.
Nice one, mate. Nice one. I am also was I coming down of lulls since fucking that game against Ross County, mate. Seriously, snooze fest of the weekend, and aptly said as well. We're gonna try and talk about the events of the game that was held at Tynecastle during the weekend there against Ross County, which ended in a stalemate 0-0 draw. So we'll try and squeeze out as much as we can from the game itself. Also, we're gonna touch on like a few wee bits and bobs as well. Of course, as most of you will know, our beloved stadium announcer Scott Wilson, he had his last game at the Ross County game just there as well, which was a bit sad, of course, and that there will be massive shoes to fill for next season as well. So we will touch a bit upon about that, and also we're gonna touch upon the ridiculous fucking organization that is the SPFA, and yeah, again, we'll go through that in a bit of detail, but what would you expect from that? It's like constantly like an old firm fucking circus up there, but we will touch in upon that as well, and of course we will look into next week's like another pointless game as well, but a good chance to stir the pot a little bit in the title race as we travel to Glasgow to play Celtic at Parkhead next week. So we will touch a bit upon about that to end the podcast, and just was bearing that in mind as well. If you aren't subscribed to the Since I Was Young podcast via YouTube, please think about subscribing, smash that like button as always. If you want to get in contact with us through our socials as well, you most certainly can. They will be on screen and in the description, all at SIWI Pod. Alternatively as well, if you want to get in contact with us through our email as well, you can, since I was young 1874 at gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to get in contact with either myself or Alan through our Twitter pages as well, they will also be in the description below. So Alan, just to kind of kick things off on a bit of a sad note, after 20 long years, Scott Wilson, our stadium announcer, has decided to call it a day and vacate from his post at Tynecastle. Is a was it like a quite sad as well? Like it's almost like the way that that kind of view Scott Wilson, like like he almost became like sort of a part of the furniture, like a Tynecastle, like of course like expecting him to be there every single week at home. Like he's almost like in my eyes, like was it literally like the voice of Tynecastle, like almost. And yeah, like of course for myself, there's been many a huge game, many a shit game, where like like he's obviously been was it like a part of, and yeah, like it is quite sad to see him leave, and like of course, as I said at the start, it will be incredibly huge shoes to actually fill on.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think he's staying around the club to do like the hospitality and stuff, so he's still going to be in that area, which is a good thing. But yeah, like you say, he is the voice of Tynecastle, and like you, I mean, it's one of those, like you say, you just kind of get used to him just being there and just like hearing his voice and stuff like that. I mean, it's funny because like even before like social medias and stuff, I wouldn't have been able to pick Scott Wilson out of a lineup. Like I wouldn't know what he looks like, but if somebody was to play me his voice, I'd know exactly Scott Wilson. But then
Definitely, man.
obviously with social medias and stuff, you kind of get to know people even without actually meeting them. But yeah, it's one of those things. He is the voice of Tynecastle and will be massively, massively missed in that role. I have to say as well, I thought at the end when they brought him on the pitch, it was quite a nice touch.
It was lovely, wasn't
Couldn't
it?
couldn't give him a goal to announce, but at least get him on the pitch and get a wee guard of honour for him, because yeah, he's been a servant to the club for a very long time. And as you say, whoever the next person is that gets that job, this is Tynecastle, let's make some noise, is never going to sound the same ever
Never.
again. Even me saying it there, in my head, I'm saying it in Scott Wilson's
That's
voice,
my
which
voice,
is
yeah,
just
absolutely right.
it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, fair play to him. And as I say, it's good that he's doing the hospitality for the club and sort
Yeah.
of doing the events and stuff like that. So he'll still be around. Him and Gary Locke, they'll still be hanging about.
Oh, they'll be there. Was it? A Gary Lock will be there till the and that he was it? Popsy just said a clogs, mate. So don't you worry about that. But yeah, from myself and Alan, and I'm sure all of the Hearts was it a community as well, Scott. We wish you all the very best, mate, and like I said, it's still nice to still have him around at the club at least. So, but yeah, whoever you are in terms of going to was it applying for that job? Huge clogs, huge fucking lungs at the top of your voice, man. We want to hear it. We want to hear it. So yeah, as we move on from that, the absolute joke that is the Player of the Year awards. Now, of course, Alan, with us being Hearts fans, of course we're not going to be biased, but we're being biased for a very good reason. Of course, this is in regards to the Player of the Year. I'm sure a lot of people, especially outside of Hearts, was it just if football fans in general would have highly tipped Craig Gordon to have got Player of the Year. Again, I know that sounds very biased, but there's no sort of denying that he put himself in a really good position, and of course, you could almost say that. No, not to get too deep into it, but I would imagine it's probably harder to get Player of the Year as a goalkeeper rather than an outfield player. But again, I would have been fine with it if it wasn't a fucking Celtic or a Rangers player. But Callum fucking McGregor. Now, again, I'm not denying that he's not a good player, but again, tell me something that Craig Gordon hasn't done that he has. You tell me that. You tell me how, for the amount, has Callum McGregor, effectively won or, sort of points out his team? No. He's worn a fucking face mask that looks like I don't even know what it fucking looks like. Fucking, was it the Robin? I mean, Alan, can you just explain that to me? What is this? I know it sounds like I'm barking up like a tree that's been barked up for many years now, but what is this constant old firm fucking cycle that just and to add to that, you told me as well that Ange was it Postecoglou has won Manager of the Year even before he's won the fucking title, and with the Robbie Nielsen not even being nominated. What is up with that? What is up with that, Alan? Please explain to me.
It's crazy, but this PFA award is obviously the players, fellow players that vote for it. So it's not so much a panel that kind of decides who wins it, but to me, I just think that like you say, I mean, everybody in Scotland and the UK, even Craig Gordon's been one of the most informed goalkeepers in the UK, not just in Scotland. 20 clean sheets in a season is amazing. But I would even say like Charles Cook, the boy at Ross County, like he's got,
Yeah,
I think, 12 or 13 goals this season. And for a team like Ross County, that's a decent tally. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why fellow professionals voted for Callum McGregor ahead of anybody else. I don't even think Callum McGregor's been Celtic's best player, let alone player of the season.
exactly.
But yeah, it's a strange one. And even on the Postecoglou win as well, Robbie Nielsen wasn't even on the shortlist for that. And I personally think that Campbell's been robbed. You know, a part-time team, part-time are both, challenging for the title up until like, what was it, 2 weeks before the end of the season?
1 week before the end of the season, yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's crazy. And like, you consider, obviously this is a championship point, but you consider Kilmarnock and the budget that they will have compared to the budget that Arbroath will have.
Precisely.
That Campbell's worked miracles with that Arbroath side. And yeah, but apparently Ange Postecoglou, who can spend £10 million on a single player or, 2 or 3 players, apparently he wins it. But the biggest thing, and before I start ranting about it, the biggest thing that annoys me is I'm not in the least bit surprised.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm getting angry over absolutely nothing, Alan, but it just infuriates me. Like, again, like you said, like with like the likes of us, which I made the point before we came on. Yeah, we are like a regular, was it like a Premiership side, but in the turnaround season that we've had compared to being in the Championship, and we've hit the ground, we're absolutely flying away with it, like preferred place, secured it be for the split, guaranteed was it European group stage football, a Scottish Cup final, and yet he's not even nominated. Not even nominated. That just boggles my mind.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the only kind of logic that I can think of as to why he wasn't nominated is maybe it's a case of, well, that's where Hearts should be, So, but even then, like it's that doesn't justify it. Like,
No, true.
Robbie's done a great job as well.
Yeah, but you could also argue the fact that because Celtic got it, that's where Celtic should be. So, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do agree. I just think that it's a totally bizarre situation. But then, as I say, I don't know why other fellow professionals have voted for Callum McGregor in particular. But what do you do? I mean,
what do you do?
It's one of those that, I don't know whether teammates aren't allowed to vote for players that are in the vote. Like, obviously, I'm 100% certain that every Hearts player would vote for Gordon if they were allowed to.
Fucking right.
But yeah, it's a farce. It really is an absolute farce. But as I said before, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Doesn't surprise me either, Alan. But again, we shall move swiftly on because Craig Gordon, you are our player of the year, mate. So don't you worry about that. So, yeah, oh yeah, fucking Donna Myers, man, and all. So yeah, we can spend the next, I don't know, like 5 minutes, Alan, talking about the weekend's action as well. Of course, like, just to remind myself of that fucking great game. I watched the highlights, like, literally just before we came on as well, and just to prove my point, and again, Alan, like I said this before we came on, right? When I know it has been a shitty, literally non-eventful game at all, I do like sort of see now that every time there's a tiny wee chance, and believe me, they, like, whoever edited the highlights on YouTube must have been scraping at the bottom of the fucking barrel, mate, because the recurring theme that I saw, right, was whenever there was a chance for either team, they would replay it about 5 or 6 times just to make up a wee bit more time, and then after like showing the replay, whoever had the shot or made the save, they would pan on them for a good 10 or 15 seconds again, just to make up the fucking time. And I can guarantee you about half of that was just watching. Was it a voice just literally just looking lackadaisical, just staring away, man. Like it was, again, I don't know if I want to put that down as the most boring game this season. Like, and it couldn't, and with all due respect about it, couldn't have happened against a more boring fucking side as well. Like Alan, it was just an absolute snooze fest.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those games, like I think I said it the other week about games after the split. Like we're never good after the league split because our fixtures normally don't mean anything because we've not got anything to play for. But off the back of the Dundee United game, I was kind of expecting, and we both said it last week, that we expected goals, we expected Hearts to turn up and pump them.
A shagging.
I'm sure that's what you said exactly. So it's frustrating that, there's my word again. I'll probably say that a few times during this, to be honest.
Crack on, mate, crack on.
It's making a comeback. But yeah, like I didn't like it. I didn't like watching it, and it was frustrating because that was a winnable game, and we controlled it from start to finish, really. But County came to get a point, and they left with a point. They didn't really show anything apart from that one offside goal that was apparently labelled controversial, but I'm not sure how because it was offside.
No,
but yeah, I mean, that was a typical end of season game where we've got nothing to play for, and County aren't good enough to beat us. So it's my favourite. It's frustrating, but what do you do?
No, it's true, Alan. But again, like I don't even think it was like. I mean, for me personally, I don't even think it was like a lack of frustration, like because, like you said, it was a absolute in terms of how we played and the opportunities that we had in front of goal. It was so comfortable. Like, of course, like I know that, like you said, like there was the controversial offside goal, and obviously, like that that they had a few half chances, like from Randall and from Callahan, like both like was it like of course ex Hearts, but again, like the chances that we had, it was more than enough to I'd like to seal it. Like again, was one of your more frustrating sort of sightings of the game was our man Gianelli. Like again, like he did have a few half chances, one of the more decent ones, more at the start of the game when Atkinson played it back, like to Gianelli in the box, and then he just fucking skyrocketed it over the bar. I mean, could you maybe argue like as well, Alan? Like I know that you said the Robbie wants to try and keep that momentum as such, for the Scottish Cup final. But do you feel as if that sort of momentum, that momentum is kind of starting to be sort of flattened now because these sort of kind of games like are just absolutely pointless?
I think there's an element of that. I think on Gino, I just think that he was in the team because of his decent second half against Dundee United.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work. Ross County's tactic was just to sit in and defend. And obviously, as we said last week, Gino thrives in space and that he can run into. But County didn't give him that because of the way they set up. So he was kind of pretty much wiped out the game from that point. But yeah, there were lots of things that I didn't really enjoy about the game, to be honest with you. Boyce didn't have.
Was there anything, Alan? Like, just to stop me there. Was there anything? Literally.
Well, I mean,
What's there
yeah,
anything? You tell me.
Peter Haring strolling it again. That's pretty much the only positive to come up with.
Because he wasn't getting any fucking hassle. He was literally just strolling for the sake of strolling, like literally.
Yeah, but no, like I was going to say, even Boyce didn't have a great game. 2 big chances that he should have at least buried one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, he admitted himself it wasn't his day, and he had a bad day. So it takes a lot for someone to actually stand up and go, do you know what? Yeah, like I didn't do enough. He's on 16 goals this season. I don't think he's going to hit 20 now, unless he's saving them all up for Motherwell at the end. I don't know. Be nice to see him back at Parkhead, but again, we'll see if that happens. But yeah, it's just so annoying because when you have a player that's so close to 20 goals, like it's only 4 away, and even if he gets 1 more or 2 more, I'm like, he's not going to hit 4. Let's be honest, he's not going to hit 4 goals between now and the cup final. I hope he does. Don't get me wrong, I hope he does. But
imagine, like, you know, every single penalty, like a free kick, like a corner, get the fuck out of the way. Fucking back this fucker in. Like,
exactly. But no, it was one of those games that we lacked that final product, you know. The build-up wasn't bad. Like,
it wasn't at all, no.
Yeah, I thought Woodburn did okay in the middle again. Barry Mackay did.
You're never going to give that boy just a full-blown nice thing to say about him.
No, look,
poor boy.
I'll give him one really good moment was his little one touch round the corner pass for Atkinson. That was like the no look flick round the corner. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just one of those games that it was an instantly forgettable game of football, to be honest.
Mate, I was forgetting it every second it was passing. Like, literally, I was watching it as well. Where am I? Where am I? Is this Tinker? Oh, I. But no, just like, honestly, like, I just, you know, like, it's not ever nice to come on, like, sort of, like, you know, to the podcast, but I can not be like, you know, try, but I can be a wee bit like enthusiastic, like, about the game, but I'm really no. I don't know what to even say about it. I really don't, like, I want to get into, like, you know, like the chances that created the standout players, like, you know, the great saves, but fuck all, Alan. That's absolutely shite.
I know. And even, like, I mean, I'll talk about that Charles Cook boy from Ross County because I was interested to see him because he's been linked with us at the end of the season. And I've been not criticised, but let's say my opinions have been discussed on Twitter as they tend to be. That I'm not suggesting I wouldn't have him at Hearts, but I think you look at his previous record, like, don't get me wrong, he's had a fantastic season for County this year. As I said, 13 goals, which is impressive. But prior to this season, I think his highest scoring season was with Gillingham, and he scored 6 goals, and they're in League 2 of English football. Now, he's a good little player. Like, I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to say he's not good, because he is. Is he good enough for Hearts? I don't think so. I have this vibe of, like, you know how you have like a one season wonder where they basically find their level and they just smash it. And I think that's what's happened with him this season. So look, a squad player for Hearts. Is he better than Gary Mackay-Steven? Is he better than Gino? Potentially.
Yeah, but again, no. I have to stop you there, Alan. I don't. If you're gonna put him up against was it Gino? I'll say flat out. Yeah, granted, I know that he probably wouldn't be. He'd probably be a better goal scorer than Gino. And I'll be very honest, I've not watched a lot of Charles Cook, like, unless, like, you know, we've been playing them. But I will back Gino to the hilt. I wouldn't. If you're going to give me a pick between Charles Cook and Gino all day, mate. Because I know, again, you know, we've like sort of discussed the facts about, like, you know, how, like, the decision making can be a bit, like, you know, frustrating. Obviously, a lot of chances wasted, like in front of goal, like as well. But granted, like you can't rely on him for every single week, granted, but when he wants to, and when he does make the right decision, he can spark a game in was it like into life sometimes. And I feel as if, like again, if you're gonna give me the pick between the two, I would pick Gino all day long.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. But I think there's another player that we've been linked with that I would prefer, and that being Alan Forrest, the brother of James, obviously at Livingston. Why would I prefer? I was waiting on that. No neck. At least he's got a neck, to be fair. I mean, he's got a little bit of a neck.
He has. I know he's a fucking brother.
But no, I mean, I would take Alan Forrest over Charles Cook purely because Alan Forrest has played
100%.
in the top flight of Scottish football and he's not a massive goal scorer, but he's a good option, and I think I could see him being a squad player rather than a Charles Cook. I think Charles Cook, obviously, as I mentioned before, he came up from England. I've got a very strong feeling that he'll probably go back down to England and get a decent move for himself, and that'll be good for him. But yeah, I think Alan Forrest for me would probably be the more consistent choice rather than Charles Cook. There's just something about Charles Cook that I'm not sold on 100%. As I say, I wasn't impressed with him against Hearts the weekend there. I think we dealt with him defensively pretty well whenever he was trying to get forward. We had Atkinson and Sibic, I think it might have been on the, oh no, maybe it was Moore actually on the right side of the defence. But yeah, like we said, I'm not going to go over the game again, but County offered very little. And for a man that's kind of their main attacking threat, I wasn't overly... I wasn't impressed. But
No, but was it like just to touch on what you said there, like you might be able to kind of get at what I'm saying, but I do agree with you what you're saying about Forrest, like like he's a young up and coming Scottish player that's done pretty decent for Livingston so far. But I don't know what it is about him. He just, like, whenever we're linked with someone like that, I don't know. It just seems like a Hearts move to make, if that makes sense. Like, young, up and coming Scottish player, seems to be on a track where he can do quite well for himself, i.e., like, he seems like the kind of player where if he would have one or two good seasons where every is like you could almost see him play like sort of how the old firm as well, like that kind of player. But yeah, there is something that is kind of like attracting me to Forrest. And again, I'm not saying that he would be like a vocal point of where ever he would play, but again, he just seems like a good squad option to actually have if we were to go down that route. But again, we obviously don't know how Savage operates, which is probably like a good thing. And I think, with the caliber of player that we've been bringing in recently, if we're, like, of course, like sort of the deal that we've got with Everton, like as well, like, I don't know if that's something that maybe Savage will want to continue, like along those lines, like, was it basically like, was it like, a bigger fish, like essentially, like, what I mean? So whether that's something that Savage wants to keep kind of going and not, again, no, like sort of disrespect, like sort of like to the other Scottish teams, but if that's how Savage wants to operate, and so far it's worked pretty much, then I don't see why you would have to change it.
No, I think you're right, but I think as well we're going down a whole different tangent here, but I think the recruitment side of things this summer, like we're not going to sign 5 or 6 players that are all going to be first team players.
No,
because Robbie's already said he wants a bigger squad for next season because he's going to need one, because obviously we're going to be playing more games. So to that end, like that's why I think Alan Forrest would be a good option. I think he's certainly he's an upgrade on Gary Mackay-Steven, and that's a positive thing. But one player that again has divided opinion online that we've been linked with again is once of Dundee United, Lawrence Shankland. Now,
I knew you were going to bring Adam. Adam from the Perfect to Pay the Clause. Like, he wants this to happen. He wants this so bad to happen. But I really don't know, Alan. I really don't know.
Listen, like, Adam was singing the praises of Barry Mackay before we signed him. So if Adam knows what he's talking about, which fair play, he obviously knows something. But yeah, like this is the thing, and I don't know if you saw the article about it, but his Belgian club are open to him leaving, but they want £500,000. Now, there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to him, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm 100% against it. But I think for a player that, you know, Robbie knows him well. Obviously, their time at Dundee United, but a lot of that was spent in the Championship. And yes, Lawrence Shackling scored goals for Dundee United in the Championship, but there's something about it. £500,000 does not sit right with me.
Getting that? No, mate. I mean, mate. Like, would 100? I mean, I'm not like, this is not like, you know, to take away anything from Shankland. If he was on a free, I'd be like, right, okay, like it would, like again, good. Was it God option? Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like, you know, if we were to pay some sort of fee, like, I don't know, in the region of 50 to not even like 100 grand, because I feel like a free figure sum would be too much, because like that money can go, personally, I think that could go to much better use. Like, because like, I mean, how old, I mean, just off the top of your head, I mean, how old is Shackland now?
I've got his Wikipedia page open right now. He's 26 years old, which should be prime age, to be fair.
Yeah, but even then, like, nah.
I would love to, and I'm gonna shout out one particular account that we will absolutely have to get him on as a guest at some point, because the people are demanding it. But I'd love to see if the Maroon Report at the Maroon Report on Twitter could do a comparison between Sims and Shankland in terms of. Are
you comparing the two? Alan, what is wrong with you today? Charlton Gino, Sims and fucking Shankland. What's wrong with you today?
I'm not comparing the two, because my argument is that Sims absolutely roasts Shankland on every possible metric. Like,
up the arse, aye.
If it's a choice, if there is any reasonable way that we can get Ellis Sims back next season, we absolutely should. However, if we don't, I don't want Shankland as an alternative. I would take Shankland as a squad player, very similar to what I said about Alan Forrest. I would take Shankland as a squad player, but not for £500,000, and not for probably what sort of wage you would want. Well, but equally, it's one of those stories. Sorry, I'll just
no. Go on.
It's one of those stories that we always get linked with Lawrence Shankland. We've been linked with him every transfer window since he left and went to Belgium, because it's such an easy link to make, because he worked with Robbie before.
But again, Alan, like, I mean, just to kind of put a stamp on it, right? Our most expensive transfer fee in bringing in a player was a Mirshad Beslija back in 2006 for 750,000, right? Would you then want to read that probably our second most highest transfer fee ever paid was Lawrence fucking Shankland? I'm not saying he's a bad player by any means. Like, he did relatively well now for Dundee United. I don't know how he's been out in Belgium. Clearly not well, because like, if he wants out and if the club wants to sell him on as well, like, you know what I mean? So I reckon if there's an asking fee of 500 grand, Personally, I think for us that could be spent way better somewhere else. But if you want to, Alan, we could always put it on to the Twitter and see how was it many people would welcome Shackling to the squad, regardless if there was a transfer fee or not. So I'm sure that we can do something for that. But yeah, we did go on a bit of a tangent, mate. But let's just put a stop on it. The Ross County game was shite. So if we can move on,
when you're talking about a 0-0, there's plenty of tangents you have to go down. Like we're
literally, mate. Literally,
if we just spoke about the game, we'd be done within 5 minutes.
Literally, as I said, let's just start scraping from the bottom of the fucking barrel, mate. But we can have a wee look to next week, actually, Alan, because again, like, I mean, obviously I know it's an unimportant game for us, but just to be arseholes and just to stir the pot a wee bit, like, of course, because it was the Old Firm, Derby just past there, had 1-1. I mean, not more so to stir up like the title race, because quite frankly, I wasn't give a fuck. But it's just more to try and see us get something at Celtic Park. Like, again, when was the last time you like? Again, I know that there's stats out there to actually say, like, you know, when was the last time we actually got something there? But off the top of your head, when was the last time we actually got something there?
I don't even know.
Literally,
right? I blank out these games when we go to Glasgow.
Yeah,
like, I just, yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. Put it that way. I'm not looking forward to it because I think the Old Firm game, to be fair, I didn't watch it. I watched the second half of it. I didn't watch the whole game. I don't think Celtic have actually been like that impressive this season. I know that's probably going to be controversial, but I think they've taken advantage of Rangers not being brilliant either. I think both teams defensively are not as strong as they have been for a long time. But you know, if I had confidence and if I was saying that this game meant something for Hearts, I'd be saying, right, you know, I want us to go out and have a go at their defence. I want us to go out and try and test them. But we're on the beach, lad. We're on the beach.
Like, I know. That's my part of it, like, as well. Like, I'm thinking, yeah, like, I want to see something like from Celtic Park, but again, do we have to? like, we can literally take the piss. We can literally take the piss and just sit 10 men right behind the ball and just say, right, okay, fucking, I'll come at us, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone's standing on the goal line next to Gordon, sort of thing.
Literally, that'd be fucking great.
I think it's just one of those games that, like, obviously Celtic, the biggest positive for me is that they can't win the league if they beat us. Like, it doesn't confirm it. Obviously, I haven't drawn with Rangers because it'll depend on what Rangers do as well. So there's no like title party because
yeah. Because there'll be like, I think you're right. No.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No. Basically, they can.
If Rangers lose and if Celtic win, that'll be pretty much it then.
Because I don't know who Rangers have got, but I don't think they'll lose anyway.
Anyhow, like, we don't fucking care about this anyway. But
the whole thing is the biggest positive is they're not celebrating winning the title. Basically, is what I get at. Because if they'd beaten Rangers, it was pretty much done.
Yeah.
So there's an element of that, but I just like the way I would look at it, it's one of those games that I would love to see us raising the game and going, right, you know, this is a big test. Like, we've got Rangers in a couple of weeks' time, and then we play them in the cup final.
Exactly.
This is a big test. This is Celtic at Parkhead. Go there and put some effort in and show that you can turn up in a big game like that.
Precisely.
You know, and obviously playing Celtic and playing Rangers are two different things, but I just think that the intensity needs to be better than what it was against Ross County and what it was against Dundee United. Even though against Dundee United we were actually not that bad. But yeah, I don't see it. I do not see it. And I said it before the game at Ibrox, where we got absolutely battered earlier in the season. I'm kind of expecting similar against Celtic, if I'm being honest with you. And doesn't really make me all that happy.
Well, that was going to be my next question, Alan, because like I'll be very honest, like coming to the like literally all I am excited for now is this Scottish Cup final. Like literally, so you are right. We may have to get was it like a guest on or two just to hype it up a wee bit, because I'm going to be looking like a barrel of shite throughout these next 3 weeks on the podcast. So with that in mind, Alan, can you give me your prediction to our high-paced fucking excitement roller coaster fucking prediction board that is making every time I look at it, fucking I get a year older. Like literally, so you something fucking change, please.
You and me both, mate. You and me both. I am gonna go for Celtic 3, Hearts 0. I'm going for Hearts to be on the beach yet again, and Celtic to turn up and roll over us, unfortunately.
Yeah, Alan. Well, what I'm going to say to you might surprise you, like as well. I think the exact same. I think I'm going to actually go for one better, and I'm going to go for Celtic 4, Hearts 0. Again, like I know that we'll probably play the same team as we have been for the last few weeks as well. Again, more just to kind of keep our more sort of like important players for the final, like which is understandable, and at least they can get the game time to actually get up to speed a wee bit. But yeah, I'm not even all that arsed again, because like you said, Alan, like it's Celtic Park, right? You don't really expect much anyway. But again, when there's literally nothing to play for, then just fucking sit up, taps off, relax, boys. So yeah, so Alan, you just said there a 3-0 victory to Celtic and myself a 4-0 victory to Celtic. So I will hastily update those predictions in search of a fucking excitement to actually happen. But we shall see. We shall see.
It's just ridiculous, isn't it? Why did we decide? Why did I decide that doing predictions this season was a good idea?
We'll do something a bit more exciting where we can maybe get more folk involved. Like, was it if we will was it I can was it I get my fucking granny like involved or something? It's just like fucking was it could you think I'm gonna win, Gran? I'll have a cup of tea. Hi, thanks. So, you know what I mean? So, we'll make it a bit more fucking exciting. But anyhow, I think that brings us to the end of the 49th episode of the Since I Was Young podcast. We do greatly apologize, for it not being very exciting, but you can blame the weekend's result for that. But we would like to hear what your thoughts on the sort of topics that we've actually talked about. Do you think Craig Gordon could have won Players Player of the Year? Would you like to see Lawrence Shankland at Hearts next season, as of course Alan Forrest and Charles Cook? So we will put a wee bit on that to our Twitter page, and we would love to hear your guys' opinion. So from me and Alan, thank you always for joining us as always. It's really appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed to the Since I Was Young podcast via YouTube, please think about subscribing, smash that like button as always. And if you want to get in contact with us via our socials at SIWY Pod, they will all be on screen and in the description as well. And if you want to get in contact with either myself or Alan, you certainly can do. Our links will be in the description as always to our personal Twitter pages. So as always, from me and Alan, thank you so much for joining us as always, and we will see you in the next one. You take care. Bye for now.